Hello, writers. Welcome back to writing class. This week in writing, we're working on the learning target. I can write so that others can read it. Is this learning target easy or difficult to read? Is it a little bit difficult? What makes it difficult to read? That's what we're going to be talking about in writing class today. Let's read the real one. I can write so that others can read it. Today we're going to look at some writing that people have done, and we're going to think about what makes writing easy to read and what makes writing difficult to read. Remember that when we write in first grade, we're writing to share our thoughts and ideas, so we want to write it in a way where others can understand what we're trying to say. Let's take a look. Do you think this piece of writing is easy to read? Is it fun to read? Why do you think so? I think that this writing is fun to read because it has an exciting picture with a lot of colors and details. But it's very difficult for me to read. When I try to read a piece of writing, I always look to the words. And here, even if I sound out those words, I have a hard time telling what they say. This student maybe needed to stretch those words a little more to find some more sounds to write. I also noticed that the writing is not on the lines. The writing is floating up above the characters' heads, not in a speech bubble, but just up in the picture box. And that makes it a little bit hard to read too. I think this work would be easier to read if the student had left the picture in the picture box and written the words on the line. Maybe in pencil. Let's take a look at another one. This student had a lot to write about a pet hermit crab. Right away, I can read that first line, hermit crabs. This student stretched those words and got lots of letters onto the page. I noticed that all of the writing is on the lines. I also noticed that the sentence begins with a capital letter and ends with a period. So this writer made sure that they were following some of those writing rules so that we could read it. Is this a fun page to read? Yes, it's an interesting story about a pet hermit crab, but it would be a little more fun if we could see a more exciting picture. What do you think of this one? Let's take a look at another one. This is a story about baiting a hook. It says, I like to bait my hook with a worm and with a minnow, and that's not all you can bait. I was able to read this because this student used some snap words that are correctly spelled, and words like hook and worm have the letters that I would expect to see in those words. So this student also stretched to spell. Is this page fun to read? It is. It has lots of words that tell a story, and it has a nice colorful picture in the box. So hopefully watching me look at some of this writing and talk about what makes it easy or difficult to read writing gives you ideas about how you can do your writing today so that others can read it. In your Seesaw assignment today, you're going to take a look at two different pieces of writing and answer the question, which is easier to read and why? So think about that readable writing conversation we had and which of these is easier for you to read. Then you'll set your timer for 30 minutes and do your writing using the writing tools on your writing slide. Write for 30 minutes and take a picture of your work to post to Seesaw. Using what we noticed in some of those writing samples, let's think of a few goals for you today that you can use to write for readers. The first thing was making sure that we get lots of letters on our page that spell the word. So goal number 1 is to stretch to spell. Make sure you really stretch out those words and get lots of letters on your page. The next one is to write sentences on the lines. So instead of writing words all over your page, try writing from left to right on the lines at the bottom. Use those capital letters and periods to help the readers know where your sentence begins and ends. And lastly, to make your stories fun to read, even more fun to read, include an exciting picture. Detailed pictures can really bring your stories to life. Hopefully this gives you some ideas on how to get started. Remember that we are writing so that others can read it. And for those of you who shared on Flipgrid yesterday, many of you have comments from your friends. Remember, we're writing so that we can share our work with others. Today you'll be sharing on Seesaw, but make sure you check out your Flipgrid to see the comments that other kids have shared with you. All right, writers, 30 minutes of writing so that others can read it. Poof, off you go. Good luck. I can't wait to see it.